Hi, welcome to the podcast. Today's topic is when a new chemical sensitivity is a good thing. I'm going to leave you hanging on that for a moment and just say hello to my listeners in Cottonwood, Arizona. I bet some of you are my friends. Some of you could be my neighbors. I live right on the edge of Cottonwood, and it's just so exciting to see listenership building close to me like this. It makes me really happy. So thanks so much for supporting the podcast. It does mean a lot to me. I want to jump into this because I think that's a mysterious title, but I didn't know what else to call it. I'm sure it sounds very strange to hear me say that a chemical sensitivity could ever be due to something positive, but it's true. And I want to talk about what's behind that type of change. I've talked before about raising frequency and how important that is for increasing your spiritual gifts, for being able to communicate with angels, to feel, hear, see them, to see and hear spirit, whatever it is you're trying to accomplish with your spiritual gifts. And so when you raise your frequency, you start tuning in to other things, and then some things are no longer good for you. So this process causes also physical changes. And one that I've never heard discussed anywhere else is this chemical sensitivity. I went through it. I'm still going through this. And it's hit me in a big way. And I thought, well, if I'm going through it, there's got to be other people out there who have experienced this too, or might not even understand what's going on with them. There's a thing in spirituality called cleansing. And one of the three types of spiritual cleansing is a physical cleansing. Most often, that is about changing your diet. It can be eliminating toxins like tobacco, alcohol, salt, things that your body sees as toxins. But it's also about chemical toxins as well. So I want to talk about some different ways that you could be experiencing this chemical sensitivity and not really realize what's going on here, or maybe not chalk it up to anything to do with your spirituality. And that would be a shame. So here's some examples. Number one, you become allergic to a soap that you've used for years, or a shampoo or a conditioner. You could get rashes, just feel itchy or turn red, any kind of allergic reaction. And you might be like, I've used this forever. I remember that being like probably the first sign for me. The soaps, the shampoos, the body soap I used, I just couldn't use it anymore. And I kept trying to go back to it, and I'd have the same strong reaction that I didn't have before. Another one is developing breathing difficulties around air fresheners and scented candles. My reaction to that when it first started, and continuing now, it only gets worse, is that my eyes start to turn red and hurt really bad and swell. And my nose, the inside of my nose swells, so I can't breathe. And if I continue, my throat starts to swell. And if I stay in that environment, then my brain, something happens with my brain where I feel like I'm having this neurological difficulty where I can't think straight. It's very frightening. I imagine must be like if you had sudden dementia or sudden Alzheimer's, where you cannot process thoughts or come up with a plan for anything. And so what happened for me when this first really hit is I was working at a foundation that provided housing for adults with dual diagnosis, which meant that housing and day program. And it was adults who had developmental disabilities and mental health issues, usually serious mental health issues. And the director of that program was a big fan of plug-in air fresheners. And I was in there to meet her my first day because she's not the one who hired me. And I started having a lot of trouble breathing. I started coughing, and she's like, "What's going on?" And I told her. She took offense at that. The upshot of this is I worked there 3.5 years, and she would never unplug her air fresheners. And it got to be a point of desperation for me where I felt like I was going to have permanent damage if I did not leave. I left. Her not unplugging the air fresheners was the least of the problems. That was just a sign of the problem with her. And today, even let's say I visit my sister's house, she loves air fresheners and scented candles. If she's even had them lit that day, but turned them off because I'm visiting, I'm going to have a reaction. That's how powerful it's become. Another thing could be having trouble breathing when you're wearing cologne or perfume or even scented lotion. I had worn a particular cologne for probably 15 years, loved it. One of the few that I could still wear and not have a problem, because I developed allergies to everything else decade before. All of a sudden I put it on and I had the same thing. I started having trouble breathing. I had asthma. My eyes swelled up. Like, oh, great. I haven't been able to wear it since, and it's been a good 18 years. I can't wear that anymore. It's pretty, these are all like small potatoes, but they add up to big changes that you need to make, and awareness that you have to have for yourself to keep yourself from having a serious physical reaction. Obviously, your body's telling you that something's toxic for you. It could be great. I mean, I know how many people love scented candles, and I don't have anything against that. But for me, they are truly toxic. And you need to be honest and protective of yourself with what you find to be toxic for you, whatever it is. Another symptom is getting headaches when you smell strong chemical scents, like new car smell, tires, gasoline. There's others. Another one that does it for me is bleach. We are inundated with chemicals in the modern world. Absolutely inundated. They're in food, they're in our clothes, they're in cars, they're in homes, they're in carpets, they're in paint. To get away from that or reduce that requires paying close attention and concerted effort. It's annoying. It's like having a serious illness in itself to have this level of chemical sensitivity, but such is life. And I just want to say, I'm going to talk about this a little more, but I am serious about new car smell. It is chemicals. That smell is chemicals, really strong till it dissipates. Another thing is having your eyes water excessively when you're around certain odors. That's a sign. Not being able to think straight around chemical scents. And again, I talked about what happened to me when I worked at that foundation. It required me making changes for my employment to protect myself health-wise and cerebrally. I could not think. It was a very challenging position there. I know this sounds horrible. You're listening to this and you're like, how in the world does Ivory think this is a good thing? Let me change it to, it's a positive sign. I think that will be easier for you to understand that sometimes sudden chemical sensitivities can be a positive sign. I'm not rejoicing at these changes in myself or anyone else having these kind of sensitivities, but I have noticed, because I'm big into journaling, I've been doing it for a long time, that these changes have always occurred at times when I was feeling a shift to a higher frequency. They accompanied internal pushes that I had to eliminate certain foods, to add others, or even completely revise my diet. I can remember when I stopped eating sugar, and then I would greatly reduce salt, and I really realized I felt so much better when I eat primarily vegetables. I'm not a vegetarian. I'm not anything like that. I just feel better when I eat vegetables. And that's the kind of thing to tune into with your body that's going to help you. If your body is telling you it doesn't like this anymore, then you're going to have those kind of symptoms. So you're raising your frequency is changing, and your physical body is changing with it. So you used to be able to handle those chemicals, and whatever they are now that you can't. Now your body has changed. It has shifted with the frequency raising, and now you can't handle it. So before I started consciously raising my frequency, I had allergies, but not chemical ones. And it wasn't to the level that I have now with a sensitivity. Every one of mine appeared after I started working to raise my frequency. Did that mean I stopped? No, because it's more important to me to raise my frequency than to be able to put chemicals in and on my body. I know that this reflects my high frequency body rejecting chemicals. It makes sense. When your frequency runs higher, It requires energy to sustain that, and certain foods are helpful, but most chemicals are detrimental. For this reason, I believe that if you want to raise your frequency, it's a good idea to eliminate as many chemicals from your body and your home as you can. And here are some ways you can do that. There's many other ways, just like there's many ways to raise your frequency. These are some ways you can get started. Switch to unscented cleaning products. Use vinegar and water for as much cleaning as possible. I also use thieves oil mixed with water, and it works fantastic. Smells really good too, like cloves. Switch your personal products like deodorant, soap, shampoo, body shampoo to organic unscented products, or at least scented with non-synthetic essential oils. That's very important. Synthetic essential oils have chemicals in them. Regular, pure organic essential oils do not. It's just essential oils and a carrier oil. Avoid buying and wearing polyester and other man-made fabrics. My body can't even take that anymore. Like, it itches, I get rashes. So even fabrics can be, there's chemicals. Polyester is, it is a, what am I trying to say? It's the same chemical makeup as gas and plastics. It's the same. It's a petroleum product, really. So you're putting petroleum product chemicals on your body. It makes sense that as you're getting sensitive, that could bother you. So pay attention to that. Get rid of air fresheners, spray and plug in. Don't have them in your vehicle either. I think it's actually worst in the vehicle. When I ride in a vehicle and somebody has one of those chemical air fresheners right in front of the vent, it's blowing right in your face for everybody. I will very quickly start to have reaction. And I have to say, do you mind, can we lock that air freshener in the glove box till I'm not in your car anymore? And they're always nice about it. I'm sure they're wondering what the heck, but that's how allergic, I am. And maybe you are too. There is an air freshener you can get that's made of pure orange oil and water. It works fantastic. They tend to sell that at AutoZone and places like that, auto supply stores, where it's pure orange oil air freshener. That one is not going to be a problem for you. So there is some hope there. Use baking soda to deodorize carpets before you vacuum them instead of chemical products. When you buy those products at the store that are like floral scented, there's chemicals in that could really bother you, the scent alone. If you must touch chemicals, wear rubber gloves. You just don't want it touching your skin. Instead of buying a new vehicle, get one that's at least a year old. It takes a while for those chemicals to dissipate. They always say it takes 3 months, but honestly, in the first year, I think it's intolerable for me. If you do have a new vehicle, you can get rid of that chemical smell by driving with the vents open to the outside air, or the windows open as much as possible until the smell is gone. And I know there's some of you out there who are just appalled. Oh my gosh, she doesn't like new car smell. I never have. I can just hear some of you recoiling, but I'm not crazy. I know some people love that smell, but it is chemicals that you're smelling. That's off-gassing from all the chemicals that they use in the making of your car, the carpets, the upholstery, the dashboard. If the smell does not bother you or give you a negative reaction at this point, it eventually will as you continue raising your frequency. That's okay. Keep driving your new car if you prefer. You get to make the choices about your body and your life. This is about awareness, not me telling you what to do. Some of you will have recognized the signs in yourself of developing a chemical sensitivity just listening to this episode, and I hope this helps. I encourage you to keep increasing your frequency despite these new chemical sensitivities. Being able to access your most accurate intuition, hear your angels' guidance, and see them is worth giving up unhealthy chemicals. You can take this journey at your own pace. Again, this is your life. I don't tell people what to do or what not to do. It's not my place. I pass on information so you can make the best choices for yourself. Many people on a spiritual path feel alone. And I know because they come to me and they tell me they don't have anybody to talk with about their experiences, what's going on, or ask questions. I like to help those people by sharing my experiences and the knowledge I've gained over my own 34-year spiritual journey. You can ask me questions here on my YouTube channel if you're watching the show. And the podcast, the YouTube channel is Ivory LaNoue. I will respond. I always respond. And you can also join me on my Patreon page, the same name as this podcast, The Angel Room. I always do a podcast extension on there, which I offer some contents for members only. Some is open to everybody and some is delayed to everybody, so that there's something for everyone, no matter your budget. I don't want money to keep you from benefiting. This week's extension on Patreon exclusively is recognizing multiple chemical sensitivity, which is a diagnosis, and a lot of people haven't heard of it. It so fits in well with this theme and kind of takes it even to the next notch. You might be experiencing it and not even know it. Next week's topic is angelic guidance through adversity. I look forward to sharing that with you. It's a favorite. Anytime I get to talk about angels, as you know, that's my favorite topic. I'm not going to try to hide it. In the meantime, may your angels surround you. May your angels protect you every moment, every day of your life. I'll see you next week.